Hello, and Happy New Year. So from the title of this video, I know what you guys are thinking. What is How to Fix? Well, I wanted to start off the new year by giving a new series of episodes titled, How to Fix. And basically, this would be my way of fixing movies that just didn't work. Now, in order for these movies to make it onto the series, they have to have potential. So for today's episode, we'll obviously be doing Transformers Age of Extinction. Because as you guys know from my TikTok, I believe that movie had a ton of potential, but it just didn't reach it. So this video is going to be my attempt of fixing Transformers 4 Age of Extinction. And just in case you guys are wondering, yes, I'm going to do more of these videos, with one of them being Transformers The Last Night, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, and Thor Love and Thunder. But without further ado, let's get into how to fix Transformers 4 Age of Extinction. So for starters, let's talk about some of the things that didn't work in this movie. One of those things being the characters, specifically Cade Yeager. Bro was essentially just a discount Tony Stark. They said he was an inventor, but none of that had significance to the story whatsoever. Also, he was somewhat good at everything. I'm sorry, isn't this the inventor we're talking about? And so for our first change of Age of Extinction, we're going to turn Cade Yeager into a trauma-filled, war-torn veteran. Also, this guy right here is going to be his ex-military buddy. This is going to have some significance later on in the video. So now Cade is a veteran instead of an inventor. He still lives in this nice house in Texas, but he can't afford payments on it. And that's because my boy's just not getting paid. So instead of being an inventor, Cade just fixes things. Just like our boy here, Handy Manny. If your refrigerator's broken, Cade can fix it. If you need a TV installation, Cade can do it. If you have an old truck and you want to restore it so you can drive around, Cade can do it. So now with that out the way, this brings us to Optimus Prime. So I'm sure you guys are aware of that running joke of how Optimus becomes more and more unhinged as every movie goes along. Well, in this movie universe, that actually exists. With each movie, you become aware that Optimus is actually losing his mind. The Battle of Chicago from Transformers 3 will deeply weigh on his moral conscience. A lot of people died. He was betrayed by his mentor and was forced to kill him, and nearly caused Earth's extinction. This is also why he killed Megatron. He's not taking any more chances with the villains of this world. I would also introduce a mini-series called The Last Prime. This would basically be about Rusty Optimus Prime as he's hiding from Onslaught, Swindle, Vortex, Brawl, and Blastoff. And those 5 wouldn't be Decepticons, they would be guns for hire hired by Lockdown to find and capture Optimus Prime. Now obviously they're not successful, so this would force Lockdown to come to Earth and try to do the job himself. Optimus's arc would stay the same in the movie. He'd still be questioning himself about if the humans are worth helping. And him and Cade would have a stronger dynamic as they both relate to each other. They were both abandoned by the same people they fought for. Also, Sam does die in this movie. It would happen in the first couple minutes of this movie. The movie would start off with a cold open where Optimus Prime is beelining towards Sam's house and is trying to warn him about how the government's about to come and kill him. But obviously he's too late and Sam is killed. And now with Optimus arriving to the scene entirely way too late, he now has to escape before he is killed. And as he's hiding, he sends out a signal to all the Autobots saying to not trust the humans anymore. Then after that, we just see a really dark and depressing montage of many of the Autobots being slaughtered. Some of these Autobots would include Sideswipe, Mirage, the Wreckers, and Ratchet. And Ratchet's death scene would be the same, with it being the most drawn out, and it would still have the same conclusion with Lockdown killing him. This is also where Lockdown would figure out Optimus is still alive. So now all the Autobots have been hunted down to extinction, to the point where there's only 3 left. Optimus, Bumblebee, and Crosshairs. Now let me clarify, these are the only 3 Autobots left on Earth. Once they arrive on Lockdown's ship to save Cade's daughter and Optimus, they would find Hound and Drift. These 2 were captured by Lockdown long before the Autobots arrived to Earth. Hound would still be Hound, he's just not too fond of Optimus or his Autobots. And instead of a samurai, Drift will be a knight. His appearance would look more like this, until they get off the ship where he stumbles across a Bugatti and scans it. Then he would get something similar to this, except it's still more of a knight look. Also, while on Lockdown's ship, they'll realize that Lockdown's been collecting old Transformer Knight artifacts. This would tie into Transformers The Last Knight, as Lockdown tells Optimus that he's doing it for the creators. The creators being Quintessa. Shifting back to the Autobots, let's talk about Bumblebee. He's dealing with the grief of his best friend's death. He was instructed by Optimus Prime to guard Sam, and he failed. Not only did he fail Optimus, but he failed Sam too. Here he would build a relationship with Cade Yeager's daughter. He couldn't protect Sam, so he's gonna make sure he can protect Cade's daughter no matter what. This is why on Lockdown's ship it would be a two-man mission between Cade and Bumblebee to save Cade's daughter, while Crosshairs goes on a die-hard-like mission to save Optimus Prime. So the Autobots rendezvous and group up with each other. They realize that they're finding it hard to coexist. Bumblebee is depressed. Since Drift's been around longer, he'd think that he's a better leader than Optimus, or he could be a better leader. And Crosshairs just doesn't like Drift because of the constant disrespect to his leader. Also, Hal would mostly be comedic relief, but he would have one motive, and that's to kill Lockdown at any cost. Speaking of Lockdown, let's talk about Lockdown. Now, Galvatron wouldn't be in this movie, so that means Lockdown wouldn't have to share the spotlight with him, making him the main antagonist of this movie. And honestly, he wouldn't need any help as he has his own ship, he has his own group of mercenaries, and he also has a bunch of foot soldiers. Just like in the actual movie, this guy would hire Lockdown to hunt down the rest of the Autobots on Earth. But instead, he would take a back seat because he's confident in Lockdown. But since he's skeptical of all Transformers, he does send in one of his assets to work with Lockdown. And they're not gonna like each other. He doesn't like Transformers, and Lockdown doesn't like humans. So their whole dynamic would basically be, can they coexist? And the quick answer to that would be no, and I'll get into that in just a second. Lockdown's backstory would be that he was a former Decepticon who turned into an Autobot because his ideals just didn't align with the Decepticons. But then as he's on the Autobot team, he slowly realizes that his ideals don't align with the Autobots either. So he's now a lone wolf that spent years building up his own army. And his whole ideal is that he's not about peace and he's not about tyranny, he just wants to look out for himself. He doesn't care about the political structure of working with a human, he just wants to see the end goal. He's a doer, not a shower. And the whole arc between Optimus and Lockdown would just be Lockdown trying to show Optimus that he's fighting a losing battle. All this fighting that you've been doing will lead to more destruction. Your war led to the destruction of Cybertron, and now it will lead to the destruction of Earth. Now Optimus is going to start realizing that maybe taking the moral high ground isn't the way to go in this day and age. I saved my mentor, he betrayed me. Drift keeps encouraging me to be a better leader and stop letting my Autobots die. My trust in humans have caused some of my Autobots to die. And the final nail in the coffin comes from this character right here. So after raiding the lab and realizing what they're doing to Optimus's friends, he and Stanley Tucci's character have a little face-off and they have their little squabble. He and Stanley Tucci end up talking it out and all that good stuff. And Stanley basically says, like he said in the original, you guys are worthless to us. We know how to make you now. Get out of here. And Optimus is like, well, you guys are killing us. We fought for you and now you're killing us and you guys are no better than the people we protected you from. And just like the original, after they have their little debate, the Autobots end up leaving. And that's where the whole Transformium mini arc ends for right now. It won't be picked up until the 5th movie. Stanley Tucci's upset that they ran into his lab and basically destroyed all his work. So he's about to release Galvatron, but they don't call him Galvatron yet. But then this guy's like, hang on, my assets got this. And so the bad guy contacts Lockdown. And he tells Lockdown the location of Optimus Prime. Like, Optimus was just here. He's not too far. Come get him. And so Lockdown's like, alright, I'm going to send somebody to go pick him up. Lockdown doesn't want to do all the dirty work himself. He doesn't want to get his hands dirty. He literally has his own private army to do it. Why would he want to do it himself? But instead of the highway scene consisting of the Transformium Transformers going against the Autobots, it would be the Autobots going against Bruticus. Because as you know, all those Transformers that I just previously mentioned that work for Lockdown, they transform and turn into Bruticus. So Optimus fights Bruticus, and they recall that whole story that I just mentioned with the last Prime. Everything would honestly just play out the same there, with Optimus about to kill Bruticus until Lockdown uses his face gun and shoots Optimus. And then he captures Optimus and Cade's daughter and then takes him up to the ship, and then what I mentioned earlier about the whole ship scene happens. And so now we're up to the final battle in the third act of this movie. So while on Lockdown's ship, they realize that Lockdown's been collecting night artifacts for the creators. One of those artifacts being the seed. And if you guys remember what the seed is, it's basically a bomb that turns everything it explodes into metal. That metal being used to create the Transformers. So during Crosshair's Die Hard mission, he hears a conversation between Quintessa and Lockdown. And Quintessa basically tells Lockdown, hey, blow the bomb up in the city or on Earth and bring me back the metal. And Lockdown's like, alright, bet. But at this point, Optimus is almost done with the humans. He's done in general. He's done being the nice guy. He's been betrayed. He's lost friends, lost his home, and now is being kicked out of his new one. And all of this will soon influence his decision to become Nemesis Prime. But more on that in the last night video. So Optimus is like, fine, we'll stop Lockdown from detonating the seed, but after that, we're done saving the humans. And that's basically what he says in the actual movie. He's like, we're gonna go stop Galvatron from detonating the seed, but after that, I'm done. The final battle would still take place in China, except now it's the Autobots going against Lockdown's army. And so just like in the original movie, the Autobots separate, with Drift, Optimus, and Crosshairs crash landing in wherever they were, while Bumblebee and Hound stay and fight. Also, just like in the original, Cade stays to fight as well. Except this time he has the help of his daughter and son. Yep, I said it, daughter and son. These two are now related, with his son being the older brother to his younger sister. I'm sorry, I wish I knew names, I totally forgot. Making them siblings would definitely remove this strange scene out of the movie. But now they both have some semi-military training. So again, the movie plays out the exact same, with the Autobots stumbling across the Dinobots. Also, the Dinobots were a part of the night artifacts Lockdown was collecting. Drift knows of these guys as he used to fight alongside them during the medieval times. Optimus knows of them because he used to read up on them as his time as Orion Pax. And so the scene plays out the exact same, with Optimus having to fight Grimlock. And Drift doesn't really believe in Optimus because Drift is just a hater. And Crosshairs is like, you just wait and see. That's my goat right there. So using that frustration and anger of being betrayed and his Autobots dying and his home being destroyed, all the stuff that I mentioned earlier, Optimus takes control of Grimlock. And this gains the respect of Drift, as Drift acknowledges Optimus Prime as one of the last knights. See what I did there? And so the Autobots take the Dinobots into battle, and they go and tear stuff up. And so the final battle would play out the exact same when it comes to the Transformers. But as for the humans, they just join the Transformers in fighting. There's no race against time to get the seed out of the city because Lockdown has the seed. And so instead of getting the seed out of the city, it is now a race against time to get the seed from Lockdown before Lockdown detonates it. And we'd also get Bruticus versus Grimlock. So after they clear the city of Lockdown's forces, Optimus goes and fights Lockdown himself. And the scene would play out the exact same, with Cade Yeager joining Optimus, Optimus blowing a hole through this guy, Optimus getting stabbed with his own sword. And so now Cade and Lockdown are fighting. And this results in Optimus being forced to watch Cade fight for his life. And as he's watching, he starts to beat himself up about how he couldn't save Sam, and starts to remember everything that Lockdown said about his own war causing the destruction of another world. Just as Lockdown's about to kill Cade, the other 4 Autobots join in to save him. So it is now a 5-on-1 as Lockdown is fighting Drift, Bumblebee, Crosshairs, Hound, and Cade. But Lockdown's got that dog in him. He takes them all out with ease. And to give these two something to do, they go and find the seed from Lockdown's ship while Lockdown's distracted. And they successfully do it. And while the Autobots are fighting Lockdown, Cade hooks up the tow truck to Optimus's chest to remove the sword. Also, in some way, Drift manages to die in this fight. Hound sees this and is like, Lockdown, you're gonna die, yada yada, but gets easily pieced up because it's Lockdown. And just as Lockdown's about to kill Hound, Optimus goes for the killing blow, finally getting rid of Lockdown. So that whole ending scene plays out the exact same way as the original movie, except it ends on a bad term because the Transformers are still being hunted by the humans. So after they're fighting in the original movie, instead of killing him, Cade actually spares him and knocks him out. And so he shows up to Cade and he's like, they'll be here any minute now. That's Optimus Prime. They're gonna want to take him in. And he's like, I'll give you some time to get out of here. And so Cade and the Autobots acknowledge this and leave China. And so the Autobots rendezvous and Optimus tells him that he's leaving Earth. Being donned as the last knight, he needs to head back to his roots. Also, it's just a matter of time before Quintessa realizes that her seed and lockdown are gone. So she's on her way to Earth. Optimus then tells Bumblebee that he doesn't really need to beat himself up over Sam's death anymore, and that he has somebody new to protect. He then tells him that he completed his mission to the best of his ability, yada yada, all that good stuff. But then he appoints Bumblebee as the new leader of the Autobots while he's gone. Before Optimus leaves, he tells him that there may be more Autobots out in the galaxy or in the world. There's more Autobots out there. There's more than meets the eye. And if they are to find any of them, let them know that they aren't alone and that there's still more Autobots here on Earth, or all that good stuff. After that, Optimus Prime flies into space, vowing to stop Quintessa. What I've done! After the credits, there's then a post-credit scene showing Stanley Tucci still sitting in the wreckage of his lab. There's then a woman that comes up to him telling him that he's ready. Then a smile appears across Stanley Tucci's face as a camera cuts to Galvatron. This sets him up to be the second antagonist to the last knight, with the first being Quintessa. And that was how to fix Transformers 4 Age of Extinction. I don't know why I have so much fun making Transformers content, because this video was entirely way too much fun. If you guys want to see a how to fix of the last night, let me know by hitting that like button and just commenting. Just let me know what you thought about this one. Let me know what you would have changed about Transformers Age of Extinction. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. But anyways, Happy New Year's, guys. I hope 2022 was good to you. 2023 is going to be a big year for Transformers fans, if you guys already know. 2023 is just going to be a big year in general. I mean, a lot of stuff is coming out, that's for sure. But anyways, I'm going to see you guys later. Again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, peace out.